You are going to have no shot on defense in Madden 23 if you don't have a consistent way to get pressure in at the QB. And the best way to do this is to have a creative off-meta blitz scheme. It will help you rack up a ton of sacks, but will also lead your opponent into some horrible reads where we can go the other way with the football. Now, in this video, I'll be breaking down 3 different blitzes: a cover 0, a cover 3, and a cover 4 quarters blitz. They are all going to attack the offense in completely different ways, making it incredibly difficult to try to adjust to all 3 because we're going to use them all together, allowing us to confuse our opponent so we can rack up a ton of sacks and a ton of pressures. Now, all 3 of these blitzes will start with 2 high safeties pre-snap, and they will all look basically identical till after the ball is snapped. This will give the offense no pre-snap tells on which blitz is coming and how to attack it. Now, we will be running this at a 3-4 odd, and having a ton of speed in the front 7 is going to make these blitzes even more effective because we are going to have a ton of different players coming in free at the QB, whether it's along the D line or any of our 4 linebackers. But the 2 players where you need as much speed as possible are our 2 outside linebackers. They are going to be the players who are going to be unblocked by far the most in this 3-4 odd scheme. So the faster they can close in at the QB and seal the deal, the more effective this whole scheme will be. Now, this is all a part of my Alabama defense inspired by the GOAT Nick Saban that he has used to create the greatest dynasty in college football history. Now, against heavy personnel groupings, he loves to employ his 3-4 defense that will bully his opponent, and his players will come downhill and blow up the run game, and they will get a ton of pressure in at the QB, leading to a ton of sacks. Then against spread passing looks, he uses a 4-down lineman-based defense with a nickelback on the field. Saban refers to this as his star position. Then the Tide run an insanely advanced match coverage scheme that he refers to as his cover 7 group of coverages. This really gives him an almost unlimited amount of checks and options to answer to whatever passing offenses are trying to do to his defense. Now, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for this whole Saban defensive scheme where I break down a ton of videos showing you how to run everything you need to start locking down in this defense. So for all the blitzes today, we are going to be in 3-4 odd in the Raiders Playbook. Then for coaching adjustments, I always play with baseline on. Then you also want to turn on your match coverage. Now, the first blitz we are looking at is pinch buck 0 in 3-4 odd. Now, this is legitimately one of the fastest blitzes you will use all year. It will barely be able to hit the back of their drop before we have blitzes firing in at the QB and bringing him down. Now, if the offense tries to send everybody out on routes, then we are going to get 2 free rushers coming in every time. But even if they leave their running back into block, then you are still going to be getting a free rusher in at the QB. Then for this blitz, it will usually be our 2 outside linebackers coming in free, bearing down on the QB, but we can get a looping D lineman firing in at the QB's face, or sometimes the inside linebacker will get free up the middle. This is all just going to depend how they adjust their line to block this up. So for this blitz, you want to use the linebacker who is already blitzing before we do any of the adjustments. Then we need to pinch our linebackers, and you will see them all squeeze in towards the D line. Then you want to slant your D line away from your user, so towards the linebacker who's in man coverage. Then lastly, you want to user blitz all linebackers, and that is it. Now, on the back end of this defense, we obviously just have straight man one-on-ones across the board. So you want some really good coverage players to play this style of defense. But we're also going to be getting super fast pressure in at the QB so they won't have to cover for too long. Then we're also going to be rotating through all 3 of our blitzes and all of our different coverage looks, so they can't just automatically start calling all their go-to man-beating plays and man-beating routes, making this blitz that much more effective. Then as your user, you will take whichever player doesn't have a man responsible for them. So it will either be a running back out of the backfield, or it can be a slot receiver if they are in trips. You just have to cover them in, and if the ball goes their way, you step in front and make a play. And if they stay into block, then you can just be free over the middle and look to help on any routes you see getting open. Now, if you want to unlock and learn even more for this Saban defense, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up today, I have 2 more plays in this 3-4 odd. I break down how we can set up our cover 4 quarters to disguise it to look like our blitzes, and then I go over a cover 2 blitz that is going to look identical to the blitzes that I break down in this video, and it is also going to allow you to get a ton of pressure. Then up today also are the play call sheets for this scheme. I have an in-game play call sheet that gives you a quick reminder on the calls you should use against certain formations or looks that you will face. Then there's a play adjustment sheet to give you a quick breakdown on everything that has been covered in this whole Saban defensive scheme. Then there is a ton more up on the site for this Saban defense, making it one of the best defenses in all of Madden 23. Then to wrap this Saban D up and to make sure as many of you can use it as possible, I'm going to run a sale on the site so you can get 50% off your first month. Just use code SABAN at checkout checkout, but this sale is only going to run for a few days till Monday, October 24th, and you will get access to everything else on the website. Now, if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I will leave a link for it down in the description below. Next, we're breaking down Will Buck 3 press in 3-4 odd. This is an amazing blitz if they send everyone out on routes. We will get free unblocked pressure with 5 rushers versus 5 O-linemen, and we will just rack up super easy sacks. This will also allow us to still be super solid in coverage with 6 players on the back end locking people down, giving this defense great balance overall. Now, a ton of the time it will be your outside linebacker coming in free off the edge at the QB, but sometimes the O-line will slant over to him, and then the D end on that side is going to come in free and fire in at the QB, but then other times both D linemen will get blocked up, but then the inside backer will loop in from behind them and fire in unblocked. Then if they do try to block an extra player, sometimes he will be able to shift over and pick up the blitz, but other times you are still going to get a free rusher coming in and he won't be able to pick it up in time. So you still want to mix in this blitz even if they are blocking extra players and you still can get home. Then to set up this blitz, we want to spread our D line. Make sure you do this first, then pinch our linebackers just like in our man blitz. Then you just want to slant your D line out. And then we want to user the 3 receiver hook on this play. Then for the coverage end of this blitz, we want to patrol the whole middle of the field with our user. And you really can make a ton of plays. You just want to jump anything you see. Then most of the time I'm going to shade down with this defense and put hard flats on the field. This will take away anything quick and underneath. And because we are bringing pressure, we want to force them to hold the ball and try to get deeper down the field. But then we can also shade up and put curl flats out there. I will do this on longer down and distances to take away some of those deeper routes down the field. And in this situation, it can really help limit some of those deeper route combos. Next, we'll be looking at cover 4 quarters and 3-4 odd. This is an amazing blitz at getting pressure off the edge while only rushing 5 players. This gives us a really solid match coverage look on the back end that will play totally different than the other 2 blitzes in this video. Now, once again with this blitz, if they send everyone out on routes, then your outside linebacker is going to come firing off the edge at the QB and forcing them to block extra players. And this is going to get you super consistent pressure coming off the edge. Then sometimes when you run this blitz, the defensive end is actually going to kick out the tackle. Then our D end is going to fire down inside of the tackle and come in right at the quarterback. Now to set this blitz up, all we need to do is pinch our linebackers down like the last 2 blitzes, then blitz the outside linebacker on the same side as the inside linebacker that is already blitzing. Then you just want to user the 3 receiver hook. So for the coverage aspect here, when you look at the play art, we are obviously going to have no flat defender to that side. So as the user, right after the snap, we want to jump to that side of the ball and replace the flat defender. I've made a ton of big plays when they see the blitz coming and try to throw in behind it, and you can just step in front and go the other way with the ball. Then if you have nothing taking you out to the flats, you just want to play over the middle and just start doing what a 3 receiver hook's responsibility is in cover 4 quarters. Then for the rest of this defense, they will play with the same rules and responsibilities as cover 4 quarters, and the rules will all shift depending on the formations and routes you will face. But this can be a super tough pass D to try to pick apart, especially when we get this extra pressure off the edge. Now, I've done a full breakdown on this cover 4 quarters defense and how it works. If you want to learn exactly what you need to do to run this defense, I will leave a link for the whole breakdown down in the description below. Now, if you want to use this 3-4 defense to its full potential, you have to use the right abilities and personnel. If you want to learn all of that and a ton more, you need to check out this video right here.